BeTerrific, official coverage of CES 2017.
I've got a great guest here. He's a good friend, and he's working in a really cool is 360 VR, and these guys are doing 3D 360 VR. That adds depth to the image, and it's a camera. It seems like a simple camera, easy to use, really great. And the company is called Vuze. Jim Malcolm is joining us. Jim,
hey,
great to see you.
Pleasure being here. Thanks for having me.
So this is the Vuze. It's got 8 cameras.
Yep, we use 8 separate full HD cameras to create the virtual reality world.
And the thing about this, I mean, there's a lot of VR cameras out there on the market today. A lot try to do a lot of things. You guys do one thing better than anybody, and that is that you add 3D to the VR experience, which only 1 or 2 companies are doing, and most of those companies are doing it on a very high-end level. This is an affordable price tag, good quality video, and then you add in the 3D part, so there's depth of field and depth.
Yeah. So as an industry, we made a mistake a few years ago. In fact, I have to admit I was guilty of that as well. And the mistake that we made is we launched 360-degree cameras and we called them VR cameras. But in reality, they weren't really VR cameras. They simply would just capture the world around you in 2 dimensions. Once you see 3D 360 video, it changes everything. And you're able to take that content, put it in a headset, and you get this entire added emotion of depth and 3D and stereoscopic.
I look like I'm trying to put on a straitjacket here, or take off a straitjacket.
I was going to try to run a little interference for you, but yeah, I didn't give you enough time.
No, it's okay. Listen, I could talk forever. It's hard to do that.
It is. Keep coming the stream of thoughts.
You see the sweat pouring down as I'm like, I feel like, you know, it's like throwback Thursday here. I feel like Mel Gibson in Lethal Weapon trying to get the straitjacket off, or maybe I'm more like Bruce Willis in Die Hard trying to crawl through the thing.
There you
I know what a TV dinner feels like. But no, I think that adding 3D adds a real dimension. I wasn't a big fan of it, especially because even on the higher end ones, it became very jittery and it didn't seem right. But you guys have done it right. I've seen samples, and it's really amazing, and it makes it more immersive and more real.
Yeah, and the way we're able to do it is, we talked about those 8 cameras that are around the camera. We use 4 of those to create a 4K video for your right eye, or left eye, and then the other 4 for your right eye. And we also have digital stabilization on it. So if there's a little bit of movement in the camera, we can be correcting for that during the record. And that way when we render it out, you don't get that kind of seasick type feeling.
Yeah. Well, that's the key. I mean, that's really, really the key. Now, you guys render it stitch it in your own software. It's not being stitched in the camera, right?
That's right. We don't stitch in the camera for one very practical reason. The camera is creating so much data that to transfer that's not practical. In fact, 1 minute of video on the camera creates about 1 gigabyte worth of space.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a lot.
That's a lot. So you stitch it later. That means I could also use other stitching software if I preferred it for some reason.
You could, we don't recommend it. So here's the thing, we have 8 cameras. We have married that to our software because what we do is after we manufacture the camera, we put it into a control room, we take a whole bunch of videos and still images, put it in a computer system, and we analyze exactly what each lens is seeing, any chromatic aberrations, the actual positioning of the sensors, and we basically make a fingerprint for that camera that we store in the metadata. Then when we transfer that file to the computer, we use that to correct our stitching.
I think that because you do that, it makes it a lot better result than, say, even the GoPro Omni, which is a combined camera where they take all the GoPros and they put them together. We have that rig, and they all talk to each other, but you still have to stitch it in software. Yep. And it doesn't necessarily know what's going on in the image. It doesn't necessarily know where the cameras were and all this stuff. I mean, it has a lot more information than just taking a bunch of GoPros and slapping them in a rig, but it's not where you guys are. And I think that's why this is really exciting, is it does all the things you want it to do, and then it adds 3D.
Absolutely. Now, I'm not going to pick on any one manufacturer versus another, but when you get into these multi-camera rigs, yeah, exactly. You lay yourself out on that. But these multi-camera rigs,
they're on the brink of going out of business anyway. I have nothing to worry about. It's not like they were sponsoring us. No, I'm just kidding. We love GoPro. We have an Omni, and we love it. But you know, I'm here to talk about what is positive about your products, and I got to evaluate products, and so there are some shortcomings with it. I still think it's a great product, but it's not this.
So one of the challenges that we were able to overcome, if you think about some of the other rigs, the cameras are at a little bit of an angle. So every camera out there that uses multiple camera systems has to deal with stitching or seams where we bring multiple images together. In our camera, we know exactly where they are. They're kind of basically on the corner and they're vertical seams. So you're not having to try to guess. So if you want to set up your scene and avoid a seam, it's very easy. You just say, I want you to sit here or here, and you can eliminate those stitch lines.
That is really awesome. That's the key, is getting rid of the stitch lines. I mean, Adam has about 15 different rigs just to get rid of the stitch lines.
Yeah.
Still hasn't perfected it. He's like, oh, this one's really close. He showed me a new one the other night. I'm like,
You'll always chase it if you have a rig that's not permanently put together, because every time you change your rig, take a camera off, put it on, substitute.
bump the camera a millimeter.
Yep, then you're back in to trying to correct that problem.
That's why I like this.
That's right. Here the camera's very dense. It's a little bit heavy. It's a little more than a pound, about 1 pound, 1 ounce. And it's because it's very densely packed in there. We have a very sophisticated heat sink method in there to pull the heat away from the image sensors and disperse it out of the camera so that we can maintain high image quality and longer record times.
So how long can it last on a battery, and then how long can you record even plugged in without overheating the camera?
So the camera itself has a battery life of a little over an hour. We do have an auxiliary battery you can put on, which will double that to about 2 hours. The camera will not overheat in that period. Then it comes down to what memory cards you have in there. So we use micro SD. If you have a 64 gig card in there, it's only about an hour worth of recording, because remember, we're going a gig per minute.
But you could put a 256 in, couldn't you?
Absolutely, you could.
And it's basically one button function, right?
Yeah, so let's just start one right now for giggles, and maybe you can do something with the video later, but I just pushed the one button and now we're recording.
I should have them change the background. This is a live look at the hallway called the Grand Lobby in Central Hall, and then where high atop that, this is the grand balcony over Central Hall. So that's actually a live look of right behind us.
That's awesome.
On the backdrop, and if Kevin could go back there maybe and change the backdrop, maybe we could see a different look. But this is 360 live on BeTerrific, here from CES, your official media partner. The Terrifics are watching around the world, and we're doing this on Vuze, so you're going to be able to send me that later, Jim.
I will send you that later, and then you can post it out as long as you have a 3D player. So,
we're good. We'll put it on either our YouTube or we'll put it on Little Star. We love them.
Yep, they're great.
Our friends at Video,
I know.
Unfortunately just closed. But there's a lot of players in the space, and then there's Facebook as well.
Yep.
We put a lot of 360 videos out there, and we love them. Whoa, look at that. That is crazy. I asked him to change it. He went hog wild.
He changed it all right.
Wow.
That'll be really interesting to see what that's going to do.
All right, maybe we could change it again. I don't know. That's a little nutty.
Yeah.
This is futuristic, huh? That might give
without
somebody
making
a
people
heart attack.
too sick.
You want to talk about 3D? That's going to give it 3D
yeah,
effect.
right. So this is actually going to be kind of funny. I have no idea what this is going to do, but we're going to just choose a little bit of that video and see.
There you go. That's something a little bit better.
We'll go ahead and just play some games.
Sure. Now, I have to say, I didn't think doing interviews in 360 would be that cool, but we did one for fun with former boxing champion Larry Holmes,
nice.
And I watched it back, and I felt like I was in the interview. And the funny part was I was the guy who interviewed Larry Holmes, but I actually felt like I was there, which was nice. I kind of lost myself in it.
Yeah.
I didn't even need to turn around and look at the crew.
You do get lost in it. So if you look at the professional utilization of this stuff, there's huge opportunity. Interviews, you can mic your guests, and you can get a very clean audio track. Plus, we use 4 microphones around the device to capture spatial audio. Now, what's interesting at CES is we're announcing the fact that we've teamed with a company called Vuze, and they're building a controller into our software that'll allow you to turn that into 3D audio using those 4 microphones.
Well, and you can get other audio, like we are recording audio now. We can marry it later on.
Absolutely.
Certainly, because maybe it's a little bit better to get this audio than that audio, especially in a noisy environment like that. But I really like that anybody can use this camera anywhere, pretty much.
Yeah, and that's what it is. It's all about making it simple to use. We know that the adoption of VR headsets right now are not coming from the most tech-savvy people. Samsung and Google with their Pixel, they're giving away headsets. So people are getting exposure to VR and VR content. They're not the tech-savvy people. So we wanted to make an easy camera that allows them to create true virtual reality content. And in order to be true virtual reality content, you have to have 3D.
When is it available? I know that you guys have done a lot of pre-orders, and it's almost available. It's been pushed back a little. When's it available?
We are shipping to consumers March 7th.
March 7th, all right.
March 7th, it's coming right around the corner.
Is my birthday, so you guys could send me one. I could do a full review on it.
Well, I think
just
we'd
in time for my birthday.
There you go.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not going to delay the launch another couple weeks until I hit your birthday. So
I'll get it out there quickly for you. It's an early birthday present.
There you go.
And by the way, I like blue, so just leave this one here.
There you go. Well, my parents said there's no such thing as early birthday presents. I wonder if they were telling the truth or not.
No. They definitely weren't. Awesome stuff. What about, you have a new Pro model? I know this is the Consumer Electronics Show, but I heard you have a Pro model coming out. Is that true?
That is not true as far as what we're releasing. We know that this is the first way to get into the greatest piece of the market, to get as many people making VR content as possible. We have a ton of requests to refine the product and do things that are a little bit differently. We're not talking about that just yet, but I love the tease.
And what about the headset? So this is one thing I love about VR is I can watch it on Facebook, I can watch it on YouTube, with or without a headset.
Yep.
And I can use my phone and move my finger around. I can move the phone around. I can use my mouse to move the mouse to move the screen around. And that's why I think mass adoption will happen. You can dip your toe in the water. You don't have to go full bore with the headset, although I do like the headset. So, would I be able to see the 3D if I watch this on the phone without using a headset? Do I still get that 3D effect in the depth?
You do not. You get a 2D effect. So what we do is we can render out 3D, which gives you a left eye and a right eye. Or if you just watch it in 2D, you're just watching one of the eyes. Yeah. So you do lose that depth when you put it on a computer screen or on your iPad. Right now, it's hard for consumers to imagine wearing a headset all the time, right? They go, I don't want to wear that. I think it's big and it's clunky and what have you. What I talk to people about is, if those of us who are old enough to remember the movie Wall Street, and Gordon Gekko was standing on the beach and he pulls out this big phone, it's like brick, right? And he held it up and he made a phone call from the beach. And millions of people said, oh my God, I have to have one of these phones. That's the phase we are right now with headsets. Fast forward 20 years from now, they're going to be light, fast, and do things that we can't even imagine today.
I know, it's going to be unbelievable. I want to be able to fold it up in my bag, put it on like a pair of glasses. I'm very excited. I can't wait. All right, some of these graphics, the Terrifics, are like, hey, they're a little nuts. They are. Kevin, you have to go to the CES playlist if you're listening. And we're using the Unity intercom system to be able to talk to each other, keep our program feed going and all this stuff.
There you go.
So Kevin, if you're listening, go to the CES playlist on the left side of the screen and then pick some clips there. There you go.
There you go.
That's what I'm looking for. Thank you guys very much. That was switching from the live look to this stuff. And we do have the live camera as well, which is cool. I love this stuff, Jim. I think it's awesome.
Well, you brought up Unity, and I'm going to bring up something else that we announced at the show. We're working with a company called Waking App, and they have an iPhone app called Entity. It's E-N-I-T-I, all with the I's in there. Anyway, what that allows you to do is push your content up to the cloud. In an Entity, you can add augmented reality assets. So if you wanted to put a tiger on your living room couch, you can do that, and then you stream it back to your headset device over a wireless network or even over LTE, and you can actually layer augmented reality content on top of our 360 3D content. It's fascinating.
I love that, and I teased the viewers about maybe an upcoming product announcement for you guys. You just teased the viewers about an upcoming guest that we'll have on, so here at CES, so thank you very much. Jim Malcolm, great guy, been in the VR space a long time, knows his stuff, and is with Vuze. We saw you at Photo Plus, and it's great to have you here. I look forward to doing more with you.
Yeah, let's do it.
And checking out the Vuze when it's out. Where can people pre-order it? It's Vuze.com?
No, it's actually Vuze.camera.
Vuze.camera.
Which this whole, losing the .com thing seemed like a really good idea.
Yeah, till you had to say Vuze.camera and everybody typed in the wrong thing.
Exactly. So when in doubt, you can go to Humaneyes, like your eyeballs, Humaneyes.com, and you can always link into our products in there. We're bringing virtual reality to life.
You are, and it's really awesome. And CJ is watching in Texas, and he wants to know how many colors it comes in.
It comes in 4 colors. We've got a lovely black color, which is right now got the most pre-orders against it, but only about half of them. The other ones are split between the blue, a red, and a dynamic yellow.
BeTerrific red, I love it. And you got blue. The dynamic yellow, I've seen it, it's fly yellow. It's like Ferrari yellow.
It really is.
Yeah.
It's actually a gorgeous color. You won't lose it, that's for sure.
All right. All right, we'll be back with a whole lot more of your live continuing coverage of CES 2017 from Central Hall. I got to learn how to talk. From Central Hall here in Las Vegas, high atop Central Hall on the grand balcony of the Grand Lobby. Don't go anywhere. We'll be with you in just a moment.
BeTerrific, official coverage of CES 2017.